All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, it didn't take Los Angeles Angels outfielder Mike Trout that long to become a household name. As you go back to his rookie season in 2012, and it was one for the ages, arguably one of the best rookie seasons in Major League Baseball history. That year, Trout batted 326 with 30 home runs, 49 stolen bases, and 83 runs batted in. And if you remember, he took second that year in the AL MVP race. And the only reason he didn't get the AL MVP was the tremendous season by Detroit Tigers first baseman Miguel Cabrera as he hit for the Triple Crown that year. But nonetheless, the decade of the 2010s belonged to Mike Trout because we're talking about a guy that won three American League MVP awards over during that decade as well. He finished second in the MVP voting four times. But the last couple of years, unfortunately for Mike Trout, and honestly, unfortunately for baseball, I've seen Trout get hit by the injury bug. You go back to 2021, he only appeared in 36 games that year for the Halos and then 119 last season. And then, Trout had gotten off to a solid start this year. He was only hitting 263, but he still had 18 home runs and 44 runs batted in, and he had drawn 45 walks. But then this past Monday night against the San Diego Padres while he was batting, uh, Trout suffered a broken wrist. And this injury, he had surgery on it already, but it's expected to keep him out for the next 4 to 8 weeks. And it is so unfortunate for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, from the individual standpoint from Trout, because again, you go back to the start of his career and how the last couple of years are going. And it looked like, this guy, it was going to be a slam dunk for him to get to the 500 home run mark. It is still very doable. Don't get me wrong. He's at 368, but it looks like it's going to take a little longer as opposed to the trajectory, if you will, that he was just on. But nonetheless, you're talking about a guy that in the earlier portion of his career was a perennial 300 hitter. He's not the threat on the base pass that he once was, but he still has one of the sweetest strokes in the game. He's going to be 32 years of age next month, but unfortunately, his body is beginning to break down. Of course, we remember the back injury from that was one of the most recent big injuries for Trout, and that's something that he's going to have to work through, unfortunately, through the rest of his career. And on a bigger scale for the Angels, this is tough because for the first time in a long time, the Halos find themselves in postseason contention. Right now, as the Angels took the field tonight against the San Diego Padres, and of course, that game is still going on, they were 6.5 behind the Texas Rangers for first place in the AL West. And then they are right there in contention, a couple of games out for the final wild card spot in the American League. But it's not just Trout. We saw Shohei and Anthony Rendon get lost yesterday as well to injury. So from bad to worse for the Los Angeles Angels. And now they've got to try to find a way to stay afloat in this postseason race. And it's not going to be easy. I know that the All-Star break is coming up next week. And after tonight, the Angels finish with two versus the Dodgers before they hit the break. But then right out of the break next week, you're talking about an Angels team. They have a 9-game homestand, which is good. But those first 6 games, 3 against the Houston Astros, the defending World Series champions, and then 3 versus the New York Yankees. It's not going to be easy. So it's gut check time for this Angels team because obviously somebody has to step up, not just in the absence of Trout, but also without Shohei or Anthony Rendon. And honestly, Shohei has a blister. I think it's one of those things where um, it'll probably prevent him from pitching short term, but I think he'll still be able to hit and field. I have not checked the lineup to see if Shohei is in the lineup tonight. please accept my apologies for that. But it looks like Rendon is definitely going to miss some time. But nonetheless, getting back to Trout, this is just unfortunate. And I mean, I hope that he can come back healthy. I hope that he can come back and be the Mike Trout that he was several years ago. It's going to be tougher now that he is on the other side of 30, if you will. But nonetheless, he just got off to such a tremendous start for his career. And make no mistake about it, if Mike Trout finished playing ball right now, he's a Hall of Famer. Okay, because of the numbers that he's put up. And again, you're talking about a guy who was a three-time AL MVP, and he made a very compelling case to have won the award at least two more times. But nonetheless, you just feel for this guy, and also you just feel for baseball because the injuries are just starting to take over for him. And you just wonder and you just hope that he can come back healthy and be the Mike Trout that everybody has loved. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.